Good afternoon, I'm Carlos Zambrano, and today I'm going to present something about an interesting approach of learning that is presentation, practice, production. And the most important aspects about that. The first one is the presentation. After that, the practice, and finally, the production. Okay, the most important aspects about that approach there are. The presentation is the stage where the teacher presents the target language. So students know the most important aspects of the topic. After that, the practice. In that stage, students do a controlled practice activity. Finally, the production. In that stage, the students use the learned language to produce oral written text. It is important to mention that teacher present the language and the learners practice it in a controlled practice. The teacher's role in this approach there are to direct the activities, to model the correct forms, and to check the understanding between other important aspects. About the positive aspects of this approach there are that it makes planning easy. It can be implemented by relatively inexperienced teachers. And about the negative aspects, I would like to mention that it takes little account of students' acquisition abilities, and sometimes learners who do well in the practice phase fail to transfer this ability to the production phase. So I would like to expand the concept, explaining that the vocabulary use is imposed and it is not necessary to apply in a real context. So I'm going to make an example with an interesting activity through a specific topic that is present continuous tense that I can be applied to students of 6, 7, and maybe in 8th grade. Okay, the first part is to present the topic to the students. So the name of this is present continuous tense that also is known as present progressive tense. After that, an interesting video about that to catch the focus of the students. After of a general introduction of the topic, uh, continue the presentation of the important aspects to have into account about the present continuous. So students knows a general description and some cases in which that grammar is used. After that, we continue with uh, the show or the explanation of the grammar construction of some sentences, or that they identify the components that they have to use when they are going to write something using the present continuous. There, they can identify the elements one by one and some examples in affirmative sentences. Then they analyze some examples with different subjects to determine the importance of the verb to be in this grammar time. After that, a practical activity where they have to use the subjects, verbs, and complements to create or to write or express different sentences in present continuous or progressive but in affirmative way. There they have to practice using the vocabulary that the teacher established to the practice. After that, they continue practicing collocating different verbs in the correspondent boxes to create coherent sentences. Finally, I have to develop an assessment activity where the teacher can identify or determine if the students learn the concept and are able to use the vocabulary as they explain to them. Okay, after that, teacher explains something about the negative sentences with the same strategy or order used in the affirmative. They can see some different examples. After that, they have to practice using the vocabulary established for the teacher, creating negative sentences, present, progressive, or continuous. They, in this exercise, can organize different sentences using the present continuous in negative way. The assessment, the assignment that they have to develop is complete in the next sentences using the verb in brackets. And finally, the teacher developed the same action but with the negative, with the interrogative sentences. So it's the same process. There is a pre-task explanation, the task, the assignment, and an assessment. In this case, an interactive exercise through a video where the students have to determine some important aspects.